What's up, man? Another episode of Shooting Still Wrestling Podcast with C-Dub here and my man Tamilian Vanish.
Hi, everybody. This is Tamilian Vanish, an international wrestling superstar from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm here with another special guest. So, C-Dub, who's the new guest?
We got coming to us today from Arkansas, owner of SCW, South Central Wrestling, Antonio Reyes.
How y'all doing?
What's happening?
Not a lot, man. Trying to keep things on track.
Oh, yeah, I heard that. My man, Tamilian Vanish got a lot of good things. He was filling me in on your promotion and what you got to bring to the table and what you want to talk about. As far as the wrestling business goes, what would you say got you into promoting or wrestling? Like, what brought you to wanting to get into the business?
What brought me into the business originally was wanting to be a performer, getting into the actual wrestling aspect of it. I started training in 98, had my first match in 2000. I've been doing it for a while. I stuck with family instead of really pushing to go anywhere big, and just seeing a lot of the promotions and the way they were handling things and feeling that I could do it better. I don't know that I have done it better, but we have figured out a formula that works for us.
Yeah, he was telling me about this formula of yours. I've never heard of an actual promoter or person building their own ring. How'd that come about?
I got to looking at how High Spots and Monster Rings and Cages did their rings, and the fact that you could not flip over the framework that goes throughout the center, I didn't like that. Researching a lot of the old Crockett rings, it showed me basically how they used to do it. So I used metal instead of wood because those old Crockett rings were all wood, and I haven't had a problem.
Nice. But you got Tamilian, you got anything you want to add?
Yeah. So building your own ring, I got a chance to work in that ring, and I was surprised. I was kind of like blown away because it was probably one of the nicest rings I ever been in. Like, and even when I was taking bumps, it was completely like normal, fine. So you built that ring with your hands, right?
Yes, sir.
So I know this is off-track questions. So would you like to build rings for other promotions?
If I saw that there was a steady clientele, I would definitely go into the ring building business.
Okay. So at the end of this podcast, I'll definitely ask you to provide your contact information and everything so that listeners and viewers can actually reach out to you. Now,
yes, sir.
Going back to the basics, South Central Wrestling, when did you start it? When was the first show? And what was
South
your
Central
goals and
Wrestling,
expectations?
South Central Wrestling started as a company in 2017. I wanted to put on my first event, and I call it an event, not a show, because a show, it seems more fake and play. An event is a fighting event. So first off, I wanted to make sure that I separated myself from what I looked at as the cartoony or the more playful type promotions. You have to set yourself apart somehow. So I really wanted to cater toward a more realistic fight-like view. That's really where it all began. 2017 was our first event, November of 2017. We were able to luck into a building. I had seven or eight companies that I worked with. I do electrical work. So there were 7 or 8 companies that I knew I could get some financial support from. So once I had that lined up and I had already been working on the ring, I knew I had the ring built. I was able to get the venue, which was Boys and Girls Club here in Hot Springs. And that's when we did our first event.
So many wrestling promoters, when they build or when they start their promotion, they want to bring bigger names like to the business, like, they, so that they can draw people, they can sell tickets. And from what I've seen, what I've experienced, for you, giving opportunity to local talents are more priority than bringing someone and paying them big amount of money. So how you're managing still to doing this, because from 2017 to till right now, you are mostly using talents from Arkansas, Oklahoma, or any other neighboring states, correct?
Correct. When my wife and I started talking about doing this as a possibility, the first thing I wanted to figure out was, if we did not sell a single ticket, how much money would I be willing to lose out of our household budget? Because all of this is paid for by our household budget. If we didn't sell a single ticket, what am I comfortable losing? Once I figured out how much that was, then I started searching for talent to find the people that I felt could put on the event that I was looking to put on and not cost me an arm and a leg. Once we started seeing how it was working and that we were starting to get a little more traction, it was a no-brainer to just kind of stay with that and push toward bringing in a bigger name person when we felt comfortable to do it.
And the other thing about South Central Wrestling is the videos. And a lot of promotions now these days, even though cell phone is out there, you can't even record it with your cell phones. And a lot of promotions still to this day, they don't provide any videos or anything like that. But not only you guys provide it with the commentary, with a good edit, you have that 1 or 2 hours of shows on YouTube as well. So again, my question is, like, you're providing a big platform, and how do you feel about giving this opportunity to the guys and girls, and how they are really taking it? Do you think they're really taking serious about this? Because I'm not sure, like, how many promoters or promotions are out there in Arkansas. But what is your thoughts, or what do you've like seen? What is your experience by seeing all the other talents, since you're like providing these facilities?
Seeing other talents that are coming in, it's hit and miss with a lot of them. I have some people that come in and they cannot get over with the crowd, regardless of how hard they try. And then you have others that don't try at all, and they get over the crowd no problem. The biggest thing that I have seen is it is hard to get the talent at this level to really invest in themselves. And I don't mean so much financially as I do taking the time to really promote themselves. I have told them, I could put you on every flyer, and I can put that flyer in every shop in Hot Springs. But if they don't know who you are because you're not making promo videos, or you're not getting on Facebook where we're advertising our Facebook page, if you're not putting yourself out there to make people want to either see you beat somebody's butt or get your butt beat, then it doesn't matter how much I put your picture on a flyer and how many places I put that flyer in. You have to get the people into it. I can tell them you're going to be there all day, but if you can't make them get into it, they're not going to want to see it. And that has been the hardest thing to get through to some of these talents.
Yeah, you gotta if you're gonna make the face and put up the fist, you gotta have a story behind it. You can't just be on the flyer, not say like, hey, this is what I'm coming to do and this is my name. Like I haven't even wrestled yet, and I promote my ass off with everything I do, whatever I'm involved in. So I see it a lot though. What you're talking about, people being on the flyer, you don't see no kind of nothing, not a post, not a share, and you're like, and then
Right.
when people get there, and you hear the who the is this, you'll always hear somebody in the crowd be like, who the is this? As a performer, as a wrestler, you can get mad at them all you want to, but you should be mad at yourself.
Right. Even if you're not going to make a video to post out there, you can jump on the page, the promotion page, and type some stuff out how you're going to go and kick whoever's butt that that you're going against.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, basic comments and basic conversations, that definitely helps too. I mean, even I personally experienced certain things. So like, there's a promotion here in Georgia. I don't want to name them yet, but I kind of like, my experience was like, I did everything right. When I was in Mexico, I cut a promo, I sent it to the booker. I've been told that I will be working with a guy, and everything was good, finalized. I was like, okay. And a week or two passed. I still haven't seen my promos on social media anywhere. So I reached out to the booker. I said, hey man, I'm promoting this as much as possible. What happened to my promo? Because I cut a promo in 3 different languages from Mexico. And the person said everything is good, and the next thing I know, the guy that I was supposed to work with, his flyer came out. He was working with Johnny Swinger. And I was like, I reached out to the booker again. Hey, what's going on, man? I was supposed to work this kid. And he said, no, you're still working with him. Long story short, I had to drive 2 hours and to go to this venue. And I found out that I'm not even on the card. I don't have a badge. They used me for a parking lot, small segment. It pissed me off big time. I understand if I'm going to do an extra work with WWE, if I'm not getting used to it, I'm okay. The reason is, at the end of the day, I'm still getting credit. I'm still getting paid, getting food and everything. That takes care of their talents. And these kind of indie promotions doing these kind of things to workers who's doing everything by the book and right way. My question is, I know you are not only promoter, you book talents too. You're the booker too. So
Yes.
How do you value a talent? Now we're talking about sharing the flyers, cutting in promos. So how do you evaluate a talent?
A talent that I've never really talked to, first thing I will ask for is video so that I can see how they handle it. I make sure that it is one-on-one competition, because it is hard to gauge a tag team match. It's hard to gauge a person on a tag team match or a 3-man or a 4-man. I'm looking for singles events. I want to see how they work in the ring. Do they look safe? And you can't always tell if somebody's safe just by watching them, because some of the things that we do, I'm sorry, breaking kayfabe a little bit. Some of the things we do look vicious, and you really don't feel it. So that's not always a good judge of what you're looking at, because you may look at something, it looks vicious. You're thinking, wow, man, that dude is not safe at all. Or that girl is not safe, the way she did that. But to actually be in the ring and have them break it down, they are safe. They're really thinking about the person they're working with. So I look at that to begin with, and then I see how they handle what would be dead spots in a match. Do they really look at the crowd and feed off of the crowd, feed into the crowd? Do they just go through their sets? I see them in the back once I've brought them in, and I get to see how much they go over a match that they're going to do. But when I'm watching them on the video, that tells me how they're going to react and whether or not they're going to cater to the fans that are in attendance.
That's really yeah. See them, go ahead.
Yeah, speaking of unsafe, I saw this recent video. This man viciously power bombing this guy over and over again, and apparently it's on amassed 5 million or so views. Have you seen this video?
I don't think I have.
Oh man.
So it was this guy power bombing his opponent 2 or 3 times in a row in a very tough and stiff way. And Christopher Nowinski shared that video on social media, saying that this is not wrestling. This man is very dangerous, and he will not recommend. So talking about safe and unsafe here. And again, the name of this podcast is Shoot and Stay Wrestling Podcast. So there are guys and there are girls out there thinking, okay, before I say this, I can tell you this. I've been to Japan. I got a chance to wrestle in Japan. Their shoot style is a different style, completely different. That doesn't mean they're giving you a very stiff forearms to your jaw or beating the shit out of you. No, their style is entirely different. And in here states, and some of the guys that I work with, they're so stiff, and they will tell you, "Oh, bro, I'm kind of like doing the Japanese shooting style," which is not true, which is an entirely different style.
Right.
But have you ever come up with any talents that were so stiff and very uncomfortable to work with, or any other talents came to you and told you, "Hey, this guy's unsafe"?
I have not been approached with other talents telling me that some are unsafe. I have had some that have told me that they didn't like the way some of them bring themselves across. They don't feel that certain talent is hyping up the match and the other person. They feel like they're only in the ring for themselves, to make sure the spotlight is on them. So I have had that. I have worked people that are stiff. It's not fun, but at the end of the day, I mean, you got to make it look good. When you get your bell rung, people see that it happens. I guess it does look good. It does look like a fight. But at the end of the day, what we do, it is a fixed fight. So it needs to look as real as possible.
But at the same time, the safety is very important.
Yes.
Like, you can't just power bomb somebody 3-4 times.
Right.
That jump rough, man. That guy. Somebody even tried to say, look, he went and grabbed the guy's hand, so he was still like, but man, like, it's just crazy. That jump, look, I don't know, man. That wasn't wrestling. I think if that guy's still wrestling after that or whatever, or he wasn't, like, if he was of sound mind after he got to the back, there'd be something else going on in the back afterwards.
I tell you the reason all these things are happening. I might be true here. I hope I'm not. The wrestling that they show on television, let's say, for example, AEW, All Elite Wrestling, I think his name is Wardlow. He gives like 10 or 5 power bombs on his matches. So my next question is, how much of these big televisionized wrestling promotions are affecting indies when it comes to wrestlers trying to copying these things?
They do affect a lot of what I have started seeing. From 2017 to just now, I mean, that's only 5 years, but in that 5 years, it is surprising at how much a match has changed. And you've got to rack it up to original WWE, because they were the ones who won the Monday Night Wars. And for the majority of this 5 years that we've been in business, it's the place to be. So they're definitely part of the reason we're getting what we're getting.
So let's say, like, back then, like, I'm talking about early 2000s and even the 90s, when you watch a wrestling match, there was a storytelling involved, like, nothing big. not 10,000 spots, not so much of flyings and unnecessary things in the ring. And what do you think about the modern day wrestling now these days? When you're a promoter, when you're a booker, when you're booking two people, you have a vision, right? Like, okay, you have 10 or 20 minutes. And this is what I'm expecting from you. And how do you react when you see a bunch of spot fest back and forth?
I'm probably one of the few independent promoters / bookers who will, after the fact, talk to my talent and let them know what I've seen on the video. The majority of the stuff that I see that I don't like is the unbelievability. One of the first things that I tell people is it has to be believable. When people come to me and say, hey, we want to do this, is it believable? How do you expect me to believe that you can do this? You can take all of this and then get up with no problem. How do you expect me to believe that you can whip me to a corner, run at me, and me not move? All I've done is been thrown into a corner. How does that take me out completely? And then you will see sometimes people will get hit in the stomach and it's like it just absolutely kills them. They are doubled over, can't move their arms, can't block, can't walk away. It is so unbelievable, the stuff that I see. And when I see that, I do call it out.
A little psychology, ring psychology, a long lost art. You don't see it as much as you used to.
True. Very true.
How much of wrestling training is very important? Because again, these kind of things are relating to wrestling training. And I don't know about the wrestling schools in Arkansas. We have plenty of wrestling organizations and wrestling schools all over the country. So how much training is important for this business?
Training is very important for this business. There are ways that we communicate in a ring that not everybody knows. And some people think just because they have stepped into a ring once or twice, they know everything. And when they miss one of these signals or the way we communicate, it has some pretty dire consequences sometimes.
Seat up.
Yeah, I like to ask this question. When it comes to scouting and going out, how do you go about it? Do you go through the videos that are posted on different pages, or are you looking it up like on YouTube? Like, how do you, when it goes to bringing in outside talent, how often do you reach outside the norm and grab somebody that hasn't been seen in your promotion yet?
Usually what I do is, as I'm going through Facebook, I have people you may know that pop up. And when I see that they're a wrestler, I will go on and see if they posted any video. If they haven't, then I reach out to them based on their vicinity to our area, and ask them for video. Ask them who they were trained by. Ask them how many matches they've had. It doesn't matter how long you've been in wrestling. How many matches have you had? And then I can go from there.
Also, like, how many promotions would you say are close by to where you're at? So, like, if somebody was to want to come by and drop in and wrestle at your promotion, would they be able to do like a tour, so to say? Like, like, say for instance, here in Georgia, like if like a bigger name comes into town or comes into the state, for a weekend or 2 weeks, they're able to hit multiple promotions. Would you say you're the only one close by, or is there other
not really the
promotions?
only one close by? I'm not sure what you would call close by, but within a 4-hour within a 4-hour radius, we've got including myself, five promotions. Three of those five, no, it'd be six. Three of those six run weekly,
Gotcha.
but everybody runs on Saturday. So
Yeah.
there's no chance for you to come down and hit a Friday show here and a Saturday show here and a Sunday show here. I'm sorry,
So
I'll
it's
back
like
that up. I'll say a Friday show, a Saturday event, and a Sunday show.
Gotcha. So that's an untapped market there.
Yes.
Sunday, Friday. Gotcha.
Definitely. If somebody opened up, especially on Sunday, we had a promotion that was running on Sundays, and they were selling really good. And I'm not exactly sure what happened. Of course, that was pre-COVID. I don't know if COVID really hurt them, but it seemed like they were doing pretty good. I don't know any of the background of why they discontinued.
How much COVID affected this business from your perspective?
COVID affected the business pretty a lot. I mean, the majority of our promotions in this 4-hour radius that I'm talking about, we were shut down for almost a year. I think I'm one of the few that came back as early as I did. We were.
I think your mic. Okay.
We run the fourth Saturday of the month. When March came, by the time our event was ready to get kicked off, to kick off, that's when everybody was starting to close up, because that was late March of 2020, and they were starting to shut everything down. They didn't want you going anywhere. They wanted people to stay inside. So we were out March, April, and May. We're one of the only ones that I know of that came back and actually had a live event in June. There was a lot of precautions that we had to take, making sure that families that came together stayed in, their 6-foot bubble. So there were a lot of precautions that we had to take, but I don't think that there was enough room in most of the venues to allow other promotions to do that.
South Central Wrestling, you were running from 2017, and during the pandemic, you had to close it. Then you started running back again. Now, do you have any plans to extend it, expand it, your promotion to another cities or another states? Any plans like that?
I would like to. It would be nice, but in all honesty, crowds have to be trained. That's the bottom line. You have to run the same week every month. You have to run the same time. So if they don't know you're going to be there on a regular basis, it is hard to get a following. So that's what we wanted to start with, was our following, where we're at. Once we can consistently hit a specific number, my wife and I have talked about, if we can hit 100 all the time, then we can look at going into bigger places. But the honest truth is we have a small crowd. We average about 60.
How much the merchandise sales is important when it comes to a talent? Because a lot of promotions, they have wrestlers coming in pre-show, before the show. They take pictures and they sell their T-shirts, whatever they have. During the intermissions and intervals, it's happening too. So how much important all these things?
It is important, but one thing that I have really noticed is at our level, your picture is not going to sell near as much as some kind of wacky gimmick.
Unless you're a regular, right?
Correct. I've got glossies of myself that don't sell near as much as just regular little buttons. Kids will sit there and buy buttons all day, but nobody really wants to buy a picture of the Aztec Warrior El Rey, because who are they going to show it to? I'm not world known. I haven't traveled even near as much as you have. So while I've got a small following that enjoy watching me wrestle and enjoy cheering me on, to expect them to buy on a regular basis pictures of me is not likely to happen.
C-Dub.
Yeah. So since from 2017 to now, if you was to try to grab some new fan base, get some more eyes on your product, what type of matches would you be able to put together? Say if you was like the best of SCW, who would you say, or what matches would you say would be in, say, just your top five? I'll just do top five. And how would people go about seeing these matches? And like, what match stands out to you the most? Like, you can like picture it, visualize it, and as if it happened yesterday.
Right. We've got a gentleman that I bring in. His name is Varric Vane. Also goes by Spider. He is almost guaranteed a draw anytime I put him on a flyer. So I would say any match that has him in it. Gary and Tier is another one that has started coming in, and he has a nice following. Drayshawn Prince is a third that I would say has been coming in and really has a massive following. And the one that just really blew me away was a gentleman named William Blackwell. Those four, definitely any match that they're in, the crowd is into. I mean, we have a very good crowd, so the crowd is into almost any event, any match that we put in front of them. But those four, I would say that if I took them to other areas, that they would have a following as well.
I have a question to you about this. Like, recently WWE announced that they'll be hiring more college athletes. They're going to recruit more college athletes. And there's a lot of things going on, about independent professional wrestlers. They might going to get an opportunity in the biggest platforms. And when you look at other companies like AEW, Impact Wrestling, NWA, so since WWE made that decision, how much this is going to affect on independent professional wrestlers, and also how much it's going to affect to independent wrestling promoters?
I don't know that it will affect the independents near as much as some people may think it will, because at the end of the day, these are athletes that will still have to go and get trained, and then they will go and have their name blown up with WWE. If they were a wrestling fan and wanted to get into the wrestling business, they would already be doing that kind of stuff. So it wouldn't necessarily be, a pull from what they're already doing.
I mean, let's say, for example, there's a lot of wrestling schools all over the world. And if I want to be a WWE star, obviously I'll go to a wrestling school, right? Get trained. But knowing the fact that they're not going to hire an independent professional wrestler. So what is my chances? And also, like, independent wrestling promotions all over the world, it's still wide open for so many guys and girls. So how much of work or how much of exposure guys and girls can get it from independent wrestling promotions?
I honestly think that WWE is making a mistake to just flat out say they're not going to go for independent wrestling stars. There are a lot of people that made their name through the independents and brought fans into the WWE. You look at your John Cena, you look at CM Punk. These were all guys that started with smaller independent places. And yes, with WWE's help, they blew up into bigger names than they were, but they wouldn't have had they had the following they had a big part of a following before they were with WWE. So you can't say WWE was the only reason that people like Daniel Bryanson and I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. I don't know if y'all know this or not, but as a promoter, as a wrestler, as someone, I do have a small school teaching the basics to people that want to come in. Because of that, I do not watch WWE or AEW hardly ever. I honestly don't. I think I have watched, I watched half of the first match of AEW when they first got televised. The very first show, I watched half the match and I turned it off. I couldn't do it. There was so much in there that you could see. When you take 3 or 4 hits and you were dead, you can't even move. You can barely kick out at 2. And 2 seconds later, it's like a mutant healing factor has kicked in. And all of a sudden, you're running 30 spots. You could never tell that you even got hit once. I cannot get into it. I cannot suspend my disbelief that much.
Amen to that. Recently, Mr. Hughes actually said that AEW is killing this business. Well, I don't want to target one promotion. It's like every company.
And not all of AEW. I don't want to say it's AEW that's killing the business. I'm saying it's performers like that. Yeah. The ring psychology has got to be there. You look at the CM Punk matches. He's doing great. Everybody that he has gotten into the ring with, it has been a cohesive, well put together match.
Yeah, I really hope things will go back to normal. Things will change it. And so what is the future for South Central Wrestling?
I hope that the future of South Central Wrestling is that we continue to add to our numbers. 2 years ago, we averaged 40. Last year, we averaged 60. This year, we have had 4 events that we were at the 100 people mark. So we're slowly learning things that work and things that don't. We have found out that we have a local theme park here in Hot Springs, and every summer they do a summer concert series, which is 3 months of live performance, which is included in their tickets, their season pass. So whether it's a person's genre or not, they go to that show just because it's included in the pass. So we found out this year that for those 3 months, we are not going to draw like we did the month before and the month after.
Have you thought about, I know how there's some theme parks and some places, especially back in the day, that would partner up with places like that and put on a show.
We tried. We tried with that local theme park, and they're not interested. We tried with the county fairgrounds because Hot Springs has their the Garland County Fair that comes around once a year. They weren't interested. So it has been difficult to partner with other places. One of the things I am excited for is in November, we will be going into a bar setting and having a bar show.
Gotcha.
While I am a stickler for making it look real any other time, I can understand that, younger guys who are inebriated, isn't always going to, hey, that looked fake, man. That's, get that out of here. They're going to laugh when something kind of funny, when a Hornswoggle type character comes through and just does some outlandish stuff. So I'm hoping some of this will bring attention to what we are doing also.
Yeah, there's a couple promotions here and in Florida that do the shows at the Legions or the VFWs where they have alcohol.
Yes.
And they like to you'll see Legos get involved, or or
Yes.
ducks flying or whatever. You'll see something and it gets the crowd hyped. Sing-alongs was somebody's
Right.
interest comes along. It's always, I see a difference in the show versus like at a place that doesn't serve it and a place that does. And it's
Right.
a mixture. It's all about at the end of the day, it's all about what the product's put in the ring and if they can follow it,
Right.
that's a huge part. If a promotion doesn't have anything going on to show prior to that, that doesn't get nobody. And if once the show starts, if they don't got it, like you said, the dead spots, if they don't have a person who can speak to the crowd or get a reaction,
Right.
then it's just you're not going to get repeat. Nobody's going to want to come to the next one. So like for your show in
And
November that's
as a
coming up,
promoter,
yeah, that's their
right,
job.
as a promoter, you have to understand your audience too. So I understand that the audience that we're going to have at a bar setting is totally different than the family oriented setting that we have at the gym that we use.
Yeah, I'm hoping that your November show kicks ass, my friend. I really, because I could tell you for somebody's gonna go off and do all the digging in and how a ring works and what to do to get it to how and make it profitable. You probably saved. I know what ring costs $5,000 or more. I believe if not more than that, you probably saved off
Definitely
the
more
rip.
than that.
You built your own ring.
Right.
Man, that's impressive, man. Because I help put rings together at shows and stuff, and I I never would have imagined like how I'm just gonna build my own ring. I've seen like the backyard, like put some little stuff in the backyard and mattresses down videos or whatever, but you built a legit ring. Because I would seriously doubt Vanish would go to SCW and a man built his own ring and for him to be impressed by it, it's most definitely not going to be some backyard ring. You probably have like the Beautiful Mind stuff where you was writing on the walls and putting math equations and stuff for how you're going to put it together. That's impressive.
Yeah, there was definitely a few pages in a notebook where I was just doing measurements and trying to figure out how far stuff needed to be spaced apart. So yeah, definitely a lot of legwork there.
The moment I came to the venue, I was kind of blown away with everything you did. It costs thousands and thousands of dollars to run a promotion anywhere, even if it's Georgia, Ohio, Pittsburgh, in any state. What you've done is not only inspirational, like you're showing a way, hey, this can be done. I can do this. Anybody can do it. If you have the love, you have the dedication and passion, you can do this. So you showed me that. And for that, I'm really, really grateful. It was kind of like an honor for me to come there and learn these things and watch you taking care of your baby. And it was amazing. And
the other thing that I do, and I don't know how many other promotions do this. I know other promotions I've gone to wrestle for don't seem that like they do it, but I will plan out 6 months in advance of how I want an angle to go. And I will book based on that 6 months. When I brought you in, it was based on you coming in looking like a monster for 2 matches. The third match, you were going to go against our champion. So there was an angle I was going with there. So I come in and plan out the entire card for the next 6 months.
Nice. So that you can provide the opportunity to the rightful talents. You can put them on these puzzles on places. Yeah.
And my hope is that the fans see it, and now there's a story that they're wanting to come back to follow.
And especially now these days, social media is big. It's a big platform. So also people, fans from all over the world can watch South Central Wrestling through YouTube. So,
Yes, SCW Arkansas is our YouTube page. I will take the event from the fourth Saturday and I will break it into 2 rewind shows and put one on the second Friday of the following month and one the fourth Friday of the following month.
C-Dub.
Yeah, man, that's that SCW Arkansas for the
Yes.
YouTube. I got you.
SCW Arkansas on YouTube.
All right. What's your next big event you got going on here soon? Would you like to plug?
We'll have our regular fight night. That was another thing that I started looking at based on Vince McMahon. If you want an event to appear big, you have to treat it like it's big. So we only have 2 events that have a special name to them. Every other event is just called Fight Night. So in November, the 4th Saturday of November, that's our anniversary month. So we call that WrestleFest. And in June, because we wrestle the 4th Saturday of June, it's close to the 4th of July. It's closer to the 4th of July than it would be if we wrestled the 4th Saturday of July. So we call that Freedom's Ring. So the first half of the year, we do all our angles so that it culminates in a great show for Freedom's Ring. And then we pick up again and do everything so that it culminates to WrestleFest. Then we take December and January off because the gym we use houses a Pee Wee basketball team. So there's not a lot of chance of getting in there once that starts. But our next event is October 22nd.
22nd. All right, good. You got any names on that card that any that's popped up on any other promotions that might be notable in other areas?
Notable for Arkansas, that's one of our big deals is because we do use a lot of local talent, more local talent. There's a greater chance that the people that are local kind of know who they are. Last year, we brought in Al Snow and was really hoping that would be a good kick in attendance. And it really surprised me at how small the attendance was. Wow. So that was one of the things that let me know I don't need to necessarily bring in big names or, get people that aren't really close to our area.
You just need to get some local love, like how other businesses, or to promote it and get together and stuff versus bringing in outside.
Yes. What I look at is a 6-hour window. I try to get people in a 6-hour window. So we pull from Oklahoma, we'll go Oklahoma City, Dallas, Texas. We brought people in from Missouri, Tennessee, Mississippi. It's funny that we haven't had anybody that I can remember that came from Louisiana. It's so hard to find wrestlers that come from Louisiana. So we've hit every state around ours except for Louisiana.
I got you. Maybe this podcast will reach somebody in Louisiana to hit you up.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Our vision is just to keep growing. If we can grow to a point where we have a regular attendance that is at a place that we want it, then we will start branching out and going to other places. The one thing that I did see early on with other promotions is when you travel so many different places, you don't build up a following.
Yeah. You got to make a stamp somewhere before you can make it everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you have to be like WWE, like a bigger company and establish an older. Well, it took, for Vince, it took, I think, 50 years.
Yes.
to
Yeah, and
establish.
that's him having TV. That's him already, buying a company that was already going
Yeah,
from his dad. So, I mean, it takes time. It takes money. It takes some dedication.
absolutely. And okay, this is the moment I was actually talking earlier. So, where promoters or wrestling workers can contact you or reach out to you just in case if they want to buy a ring from you or they want to get an opportunity to get in the ring in your promotion.
You can reach me at Antonio Reyes on Facebook. You can reach me at South Central Wrestling on Facebook. Either one of those, direct message. I answer both of them. I don't know. Are you wanting my phone number?
No, the social media is totally fine. Don't give your phone number.
It's Arkansas.
I don't want to be getting calls at all times of the night. So that's
It's,
one thing I've noticed also is us wrestling guys, for some reason, we stay up till 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
It's Arkansas state where you'd have to have a license, like
No,
wrestling.
Arkansas was decommissioned was no longer commissioned in 2019. That was June of 2019 was the last time you had to have your license.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be that's a lot. Sometimes that hampers people from being able to branch out as much as they want. I know that
It does.
that'd be
You
useful
have
information.
Oklahoma right there. You have to have your license there. You have Missouri. You have to have a license there. I think everything else has been deregulated from the commission around us, anyways. I think you're good in Tennessee. I'm not sure about Mississippi, Louisiana. You don't have to have a license. Texas, you don't have to have a license.
If somebody did reach out to you to build one of these limited edition Antonio Reyes rings, how long would it take you to put it together? And I think you touched base. You haven't really thought about a value as far as what you price tag it at, but how long does it take you to build your ring?
And also adding to that question, it's 16 by 16 that South Central Wrestling have it. So again,
but we could go up to a 20 by 20.
20, okay,
without problem. So if you want to do 16 by 16, I can do that all day. 18 by 18 is fine, and 20 by 20.
So how long it takes the process?
How long would it take? I honestly don't have an answer for that. Since post-COVID, materials have different delivery times now than whenever I was building mine. And when I was building mine, I was doing it at my leisure. So I'm fairly confident that we could have one together in 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks.
Nice. That's great. And I know about the prices, how much you would charge, let's say, for 16 by 16, 18 and 20. If you're charging,
that would have to be something that I'd have to go and check. If I was already
except the
making them
shipping
and selling
prices,
them, I would have prices for you. This is the only one that I have made and I'm working out of. So again, COVID has changed the price of what I had originally spent on it. So, just throwing numbers off of my head, I'd probably be around 4,000.
So we definitely need more options when it comes to buying a ring. We always rely on monster rings or high spots. So it's always good to have someone new in the business so that,
And I'm gonna tell you the problem with a high spots or a monster ring. Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Beams, the cross beams that go from left to right. Now, I'm not talking about the side rails. I'm talking about the cross beams that go from left to right, front to back, can only go on that ring one direction. So when you start getting that bow in it from people being slammed on the ring, you have to physically take those out and bend them back. with the way I put my ring together, after one event, it starts getting that bowl in it a little.
Oh,
Yeah, you're back.
Are we here?
Yeah.
Okay.
You were saying
My
after a
phone
show.
my phone had skipped on me. My phone had skipped on me. I wasn't sure if I was still going. On my ring, once it starts getting that bow in it, with one event, you start getting a little bit of that bow in it. You're able to take those cross beams and flip them the other way, so that your next event or your next training or whatever you're doing with the ring next, you can put that bow back to where it was. That is the biggest difference in the way I make my ring and what High Spots and Monster Rings has going on. Once you start getting that bow in it, there's no way to get it out unless you take each post individually and physically get that bow out of it.
Wow. So much of knowledge and so much of information through this podcast. I'm really grateful to you for taking this time and walking us through your journey, giving us information about South Central Wrestling, your promotions, about the ring that you built, about your expectations from talents, and I really appreciate it. You're taking time and doing this. Thank you so much for your valuable time.
Thank you.
yeah, man. Appreciate you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, huge shout out to Antonio
Reyes.
Antonio Reyes, the owner and the booker of South Central
name.
Wrestling.
It's a Mexican name. You can throw the roll on that R. Reyes.
Reyes, the owner and the booker of South Central Wrestling. If you're in the area, please go and check it out. Great promotion, great talents. You don't want to miss this opportunity. You're definitely going to have fun. It's always been an entertaining show. And this podcast will be available on YouTube for the video purposes. The videos are available on YouTube. Audios are available on Anchor.fm, Spotify, Google Play, Podcast One, and iHeartRadio. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for listening. And Antonio, sir, one more time, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it, man. Appreciate
I know we didn't get into it, but we are in Central Arkansas. So, to my knowledge, we are the furthest south promotion in the state of Arkansas. So,
yeah.
And that's close to Oklahoma City, right?
No, we're like I said, we're in the central part of the state. Hot Springs is an hour from Little Rock.
Yeah.
To the west. So, I think we're 4 hours from Oklahoma City, 4.5 hours, something like that.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for doing this. And we definitely learned a lot. We had fun.
Oh, yeah.
C-Dub, anything you want to add?
Nah, man, I'm good. It was great meeting you. Great talk. A lot of knowledge.
Nice meeting you.
It was awesome. Good to hear from someone. Always good to hear from someone who loves wrestling and gives a platform for other people that love wrestling to go for it, you know?
Yes.